And we go to Mrs. Clinton and the email scandal. So many people continue to be frustrated. When is something going to happen? How can there be no indictment? The woman has obviously trafficked in classified documents. One of the stories here from an unfazed Associated Press, emails, Russia-linked hackers tried to access Clinton's server. You know how they did it? They tried to do it via a phishing attack. P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G. Russian-linked hackers tried at least 5 times to get into Hillary Clinton's private email account while she was Secretary of State. This according to some emails that were released yesterday. Now, it's not known if she fell for the attacks. You know, a lot of people do. I'll give you a good example of what a phishing attack is. Let's say that you have, let's say you have an Apple ID, and you buy things on the Apple Store. The hacker will put together what looks to be like an official email from Apple. It won't be, but to the casual observer, it'll look like it's from Apple. And it will say that something has happened to their data file, and they need to click on the link in the email to confirm their identity so that everything remains okay. And when you click on that link, you are not sending anything to Apple. You are allowing the hackers access to your computer and potentially access to your data. Now, it depends on Mrs. Clinton's sophistication in this stuff, whether she knows what a phishing attack is. The attempt that was made against Mrs. Clinton, are you ready for this? The hackers tried to convince Hillary that she had some speeding tickets outstanding and that she had to click on a link in the email to make the problem go away. Here's the details in the story from the AP. Russia-linked hackers tried at least 5 times to pry into Hillary's private email account while she was Secretary of State. Now, the headline of this story is emails. Russia-linked hackers tried to access Clinton's server. The earlier headline for this same story was, AP is changing the headline here. The earlier headline was, Russian hackers tried 5 times to break into Hillary's email server. And then they decided to dial that back a little bit. And the people at Slate.com tried to spin the story for their readers, low information Hillary voters. Lazy hackers was the headline at Slate. Lazy hackers tried to crack Hillary Clinton's email using poorly crafted speeding ticket gambit. It was just a phishing attack. I suspect that there have been... Mrs. Clinton is not going to fall for a speeding ticket. She doesn't drive. She's not going to fall for a speeding ticket trick. She's not going to fall for a parking ticket trick. She probably would fall for some kind of phishing attack. Some of them are very seductive. And if the hacker happens to touch on a subject that's really important, let's say you have one American Express card, and a hacker puts together a very, very authentic-looking email from American Express, and the email tells you that they're about to close your account because something is a mess and you haven't responded. And the last thing you want is for your Amex card to be canceled. So you click on that link and you have no idea what you're doing. There's a way to find out real quickly, folks, whether you're a victim of a phishing attack or whether somebody's trying it on you. Just go to the email address from the sender and click on it. And find out what the real sending email address is. Another thing to do, like if you have multiple email addresses and your credit cards are mixed in terms of which email address, make sure the phishing or the apparently authentic-looking email is sent to the right account, the right email address. I mean, there's any number of ways to find these things. You get to the point where you believe none of it because you quickly learn that nobody you do business with sends emails like this. They don't tell you you need to click this link to save your account, to save your data, or what have you, or we can't find you, we're missing a crucial piece of information about you, please click this link and solve it. People fall for it left and right, though. That's why they continue to happen. And they tried this with Mrs. Clinton, supposedly on parking tickets. And I don't believe that, because anybody in their right mind would know she doesn't drive. She's not going to get moved by parking tickets. But they could find something. I don't know what it would be, but they could find something. What are the odds? You know, Mrs. Clinton does not strike me as a sophisticated, high-tech gizmo person. She's out there saying, well, you know, I didn't know I could have more than one account and one device. I didn't know. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I can just tell you, you know, we tech wizards can spot neophytes. We tech wizards, we know when people aren't tech wizards. Like, for example, in my case, the Apple Watch, very few of my friends would I even recommend it to. They don't care enough about the tech to take the time to learn it. And I don't want to have to take the time to teach them. We wizards just know this stuff. And so when you look at Mrs. Clinton and you hear her talk about this, it's clear as a bell she's a neophyte. She has people in the background that take care of all this stuff. She's one of the people, she'll get an iPhone and 2 or 3 people will set it up. She doesn't care. She's not interested in how it works. She doesn't know about backing up or restoring any of that. She doesn't know how her pictures stay on the phone or where they go. She just wants the phone to work. So other people do this. But when she's sitting down at her email account and she's looking at incoming emails, a phishing attack, she's the exact kind of person that the right phishing attack could work on. The bottom line is, I don't think there's any question she's been hacked, and I don't think there's any question that it's happened. Major American enemies have been able to hack her system. And now all this classified data going back and forth that well, it wasn't marked. I didn't know. BS. She knew, and it's as the Clintons always do, you roll the dice on not getting caught. And if you're the Clintons and the Democrats, you roll the dice. Even if you do get caught, you're pretty confident nobody's going to do anything about it. It's a whole different thing for Republicans. If there were a Republican former Secretary of State when all this was swirling around, we'd already be talking jail time. We would have had an indictment long ago. There would have been an in-depth investigation over just what secrets were learned by which government, by which country. The person would have been humiliated and destroyed, no future remaining because every ounce of credibility and integrity would have been destroyed. With Hillary, we get this never-ending drip, 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 every week, every day, a new revelation, but no action taken whatsoever on the criminal side. No effort that's public anyway to find out just what kind of compromises there have been in our national security because of what she did. Because she's a Democrat. She gets a pass. They just don't throw themselves under the bus. They don't indict each other unless there's always exceptions. Bob Menendez, what is he? He's not a big amnesty guy, right? And they caught him doing some things with a donor down in the Dominican Republic. So they indicted him, even though he's a Democrat. It happened. Bob Torricelli. It happens, but it's rare. The Democrats know that they are not going to be held accountable on things like this. They know the media is not going to go after them. They know the Department of Justice. In fact, it's not just that they know that nobody's going to go after them. They also know the circle is going to be built around them. The wagons are going to be circled. They're going to be protected. Because the last thing that's going to be allowed to happen is for the Republicans to succeed in embarrassing, humiliating, and perhaps even forcing out of public life any prominent Democrat. They will never allow that to happen.